a map that has seen not as much play as I would have expected, but...
Yeah, I think this morning's game was the first one.
Yeah.
At least on stream, anyway. There might have been off-stream games with Clubhouse, but I do not remember at all seeing Clubhouse yesterday. Blackbeard gonna be the first ban on behalf of Honor. Not really a surprise. Blackbeard's a thorn, although I don't know about Clubhouse necessarily, other than like a dirt tunnel push. And there goes Lion from Noble. So we're leaving Maverick open. That's a little interesting. We're leaving shield operators open, at least on the attacking side for now. Two pretty big banes of the existence of defenders. Mira being taken out, that's okay, I guess. Clubhouse, I mean, really you're just looking at like CCTV cache for the Mira. It's not really going to be played unless you want to invest like the double Mira on Church Wall. That's a strategy we haven't seen employed in a very long time, mainly because of the Mira bans being so numerous and ever-present. Last ban.
I was going to say, probably Clash.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Take care of Clash. And I find that this is one thing that, you know, the less practiced teams have been taking Clash out, I think because they're expecting that their opponents will have an understanding of how to use her. I wouldn't be surprised. You know, most of these Pro League teams have been scrimming on the test server. So they've had access to these operators ahead of time. They have obviously the wherewithal and the stats, or in the strats behind it too. So we'll see. But Maverick is open, as you'd mentioned. I was interested to see if we would see any Maverick whatsoever that goes hand in hand with the way that these teams play. Noble is a very fast team, a very aggressive team. You can see right now they're bringing in Ashe. That's a bit strange just from the fact that we don't see a lot of Ashe with reliability, especially since Zophia's emergence, to do basically the same things for a lot of players. And look at Crazy will flex off of the Ashe to the IQ. Still brings some pretty reliable fragging potential with that 5.56 commando that comes with the IQ, but obviously the loss of the grenades was a big deal. Second guesses himself, we'll rock with it, and then the Vigil coming out for Mustache as well.
Defenders, protect your bombs.
Swapping off 3-armor ACOG, at least the Frenchman. You still have the Echo on Freak, but they will elect to head downstairs. Church and Arsenal is the primary bomb site for Honor. Interesting setup. I mean, or interesting choice, I mean. Setup has yet to really be determined. It looks pretty standard so far, but we've seen CCTV cache. Even without a Mira, it is still very defendable. I think leaving Maverick open, though, is going to limit your opportunities as far as bandit tricking goes on that CCTV wall to the exterior balcony. That's your linchpin. That is your corner piece of your defense upstairs. And with Mavericks not able to be countered-ness, that's a huge problem.
Is that an official term?
Yeah, I'm coining it now.
Not being able to counter.
Ness.
Yes.
Yep.
Of course.
Counterlessness? Is that a word?
Counterless? Like without
No,
counter?
but it's the essence of being counterless. You have to add like
he's counterless.
Another suffix to it.
I don't know.
Have recovered their diffuser.
Rob will quarrel over this. We'll quarrel over this, Rob.
All right.
Attackers dropping diffuser.
Look, already a very quick push to take control of CCTV. Just by cash. And you've got LSG just waiting with that Scorpion. Now, of course, Ella is a proficient fragger in a very close quarters combat situation, so CQC. Especially against a commando that is likely equipped with an ACOG. As it is, that Scorpion will do a very good job at close range, but also sees the Gouchemont mines. And it looks like the second Gouchemont will also be shot. So that's two gadgets for LSG that will be taken out of the fray. And Ella's just gonna peek and be headed crazy with the very first kill before being traded off by the Vigil of Mustache. He was just playing inside of Office and able to get that kill before Yeti is there. Mustache not able to rotate and get back to safety. I know like a lot of teams, by the way, running this Rogue skin. I think it's one of the nicest skins, hands down.
Oh, absolutely. And I like the positioning there, being able to trade out. Obviously, very indicative of a professional team that has lots of chemistry and has practiced for a very long time hand in hand. So, two roamers off the board. You only lose Crazy on the IQ. Not the biggest detriment to an attacking force when trying to transition to a site push. So they're looking in pretty good position. Still lots of intel on the board for Honor. You still have Legion throwing goo mines across the map. You have 2 Echo drones and 3 Valkyrie cameras with 1 remaining Nitro cell. Looks like it was pre-placed right beside the default. It is still. Heavy's going to call that out as he spots it on the drone. So nobody from Noble going to be immediately entering, and he's going to spot one of the Valkyrie cameras. And of course, if that C4 is pre-placed, you're going to assume there's a second one in the kitchen hallway. So Noble doing a very good job of isolating, noticing, and taking down the utility on the defensive side for Honor.
You got Mustache and LSG both dead. They can do those calls from the grave quite easily. That pre-placed C4 is actually quite old. It's been there for ages, that specific strat. We've seen teams get, I guess, surprised by it because so much of these maps are very cyclical, right? Especially Clubhouse in particular. Prior to Clubhouse getting changed around, Heavy down at the bottom of blue will get just a couple warning shots onto his body, loses just a bit of health, but will extend some of his gadget quarrel with a yokai drone that manages to land its concussive blast on him, and Heavy will have to fall back and wait for that disorientation to disappear.
Looks like the push for Noble going to be heading for Church as they try to push in, crawling through and hitting his face directly onto Gumine, but Acid is able to save his Thermite as the push comes in, but peeking out of the bar is Romulus with the MPX in hand, grabs one, but he falls immediately after. It's all up to Freak now with the Echo drone. If there's one in place in Church, doesn't look like there is. He's going to stun the Zofia in blue, but he will fall out to Heavy. And it's going to be Noble taking their time, but wonderfully paced and taking round number one on the attack.
And all of that started with LSG's roam upstairs. He was putting himself in a position where he had to keep falling back. He wasn't providing himself any opportunity to engage an attacker because both of his Guzmat mines were immediately seen and taken care of. Not particularly well hidden. That could have been LSG jumping on an opportunity should Crazy have walked in unassuming. Now, of course, it was an IQ that was trying to take care of the roamer, so you had her gadget to be able to help find them. So very unlikely that Crazy would have actually pushed through a doorway knowing that there was one of the mines above or below or sideways or in a position that is otherwise unreachable unless you actually walk through the doorway. You also had a Twitch drone that could have just simply zapped them away. Acid will switch onto the Thatcher this time around, providing just a bit more destructive capabilities of gadgets for the defense. The IQ getting lost early from Crazy could have been a potential headache, especially with Freak still in play. He was the last man standing. He's also the Echo. Those two yokai drones could have possibly been able to stop a plant in the overtime situation after it hits the 0-second mark and give Honor the victory. But I don't think the yokais were, as you mentioned, in good enough position to do that. And yeah, an IQ is a great operator to be able to help locate them and track them down, but they're lucky for Noble, they didn't really need that because Freak had to end up taking the gunfight on his own. It was a 1v3, and I mean, Echo has lost some substantial fragging power with the fact that the bearing is unusable for a lot of players. You've seen the pistol coming out for the Japanese operator in place of the bearing 9 sidearm, which means that Echo is not quite as proficient as killing attackers as he was just a couple weeks ago.
Well, I think besides the PMM, I think the P229 is one of the better pistols in the game damage-wise. I think it's in the top 3. So you're not dealing with a terrible weapon there, and semi-auto with, I don't think it has a capped fire rate either. I actually haven't used the P229 forever. But I mean, you're still looking good with a secondary like that, and you still have a fully automatic, rather low damage weapon on the MP5 SD, being forced to be silenced, but you still have an ACOG to take the engagement. So the fragging power of Echo also wasn't the primary role of an Echo to begin with.
Yeah. The one thing I liked about Noble's push, though, was the speed at which they did it, a good briskness. You said that's the coordination that you'll have from a Pro League team. You saw that the double up on the entry, you had one working through CCTV and Cash, that was crazy, and then you had Yeti watching over in Jim and Master just to possibly get across if anybody tried to rotate, knowing that Crazy would likely push people towards Master and Jim's side. That's exactly what happened. Crazy was able to get that snap kill onto LSG, and then Yeti was able to get the refrag immediately, and as you said, essentially just losing Crazy. So that continued on downstairs when you saw a push through Church along with the pressure from the Zofia inside of blue, and Heavy was instrumental in that role. LSG's gonna get lead-off kill before being traded off by Crazy, so Acid falls, and you've lost your Thatcher, whose EMPs we already had seen get used once or twice. There's also going to be an impediment for Noble, and that's the Jaeger playing upstairs inside of Garage, but you could possibly ignore him, which appears to be the call from Noble, as 2 more will fall from Honor, and another will fall, and now, as I said, ignore Mustache. A gentleman playing up top in Garage is the last one left, and he's gonna have to retake now against 4 members of Noble. Almost stopped inside of blue. You'll see the Zofia and managed to take her down, but look at this. 2 different operators all just shooting away. Mustache has no opportunity to get out of there alive. Caged into blue, even with diffuser down, Noble will lock in round number 2.
once again, Noble in perfect position when they find this. And it was a very stunted roam game that time around. They were not expanded into the real estate that they were previously. They were just trying to really hold garage. And you saw the Jaeger laying down in the rafters. Either he got droned out and Noble didn't care, or they just didn't want garage, which is totally viable now. You don't have to push blue by getting garage control anymore. You have the stockroom stairs. You have to have some kind of effect if you're going to go do that. You can't just lay up there with 3 ADSs on the rafters and say, this is my job, you know?
And it's funny because on the first round, Noble's push came in through the server side of CCTV towards Cache, anticipating that maybe somebody might be there, and you might have to drone out garage, find the Jaeger, who may or may not have had a mute jammer with him, as we didn't see. But there was a mute on the board. That was LSG, who will go back to the mute again. So that could have possibly been an obstacle for them to find the Jaeger there, but I would imagine that Noble just simply droned out the site, gave a call for bodies on site, and said, all right, well, there's only 2 of them down here. There's only 3 of them down here. 1 rotating blue. We know we only have 2 on site. There's 4 of us. We should have no problem being able to finish this one off. They came in. They got the 1 pinch to start off the push, get the plan down, and as the 2 members left of Honor try to rotate and retake, 1 gets cut off. The next is the Jaeger, tries to drop through oil, and just doesn't make it down the corridor in the blue. Gets shut down, even though he ends up getting a kill. It's impactless. So, very methodical by Noble. And this is not the same Honor that seemed to show up against Secret. Noble seems to have their number at every opportunity, and Noble being very aggressive. Something that Secret tried being very aggressive with against Honor, and Honor was able to match it. Now, mind you, that was Honor on attack. So, Secret being aggressive on defense, totally different than Noble being aggressive on attack.
I think the map plays huge into that as well. Clubhouse, a map where if you can take with pace and look at that Echo drone already disabled by an EMP, Acid's going to call that out, and that's probably going to be a free yokai for Noble to take down. Spraying through, it just comes back to life in time as it scoots off to the right-hand side, pushing deeper into garage. So the free yokai saved, and still got 2 on the board for Freak. Very careless placements of the yokais, though, so far. That's the 3rd time I've seen a yokai disabled by an EMP, just laying on the ground waiting to be shot.
I mean, if he wasn't on it, to be fair, he wouldn't necessarily known that it had been EMP'd, but you never know. Very surprised that we're not seeing a Maestro here on this site. I know that Echo is in play. A lot of teams will either ban one of Echo or Maestro in addition to that Mira ban. That's typically the way that we see a lot of clubhouses get played out. But with Clash being banned, it just means that you have to keep one of those 2 anchors alive. Good bandit trick here from Romulus. That's pretty easy, but it does look like he'll actually miss 2 of those pellets, and then we'll get droned out, continuously pinged over and over again, and prompting Romulus to have to either take a fight with a drone or a fight with an operator. Downstairs, Yeti manages to sail 2 grenades through, doesn't find anything, but Mustache on the roam is able to pick off Yeti, meaning that the buck from below will not be able to apply any constant threat whatsoever to the defenders. There's also the yokai drone in action, and I gotta say, Honor's been using these yokai drones very aggressively, and I don't necessarily know if that's a smart idea because we've noticed that they've been getting shot, whereas a lot of teams will be a bit more conservative and hide that yokai drone. Romulus onto Breezy will be good for the bandit, and doesn't last much longer as Crazy is there to redeem his teammate, or get a little bit of redemption on his team.
This construction push from Noble, trying to get aggressive. Still 50 seconds on the board. They have plenty of time to execute. They just don't have the way to pass through with Breezy falling earlier. They're going to have to push through doors or the CCTV window. They're all going to like to go through the construction door, and Crazy and Acid both take sight with Heavy, all 3 into CCTV. There's a flank coming from behind, but it's way too far off currently. They're going to be trying to stick the plant momentarily from behind. MP5 SD sprays to the wall. LSG and Crazy will both fall as Mustache takes down, or gets taken down by Acid. Flanking around the corner into CCTV, looking for the cash stairs hallway. Both defenders have now stacked up on the cash stairs, lighting up the side and finishing, or downing off. Unable to finish off the downed Echo. That's the yokai's taken out as well in this engagement, but he pulls out the stun canister on the lifeline, and now rushing in, both of them for LSG. The MP5K on the mute, on the flank, coming up the cash stairs, winning the 1v2. And Honor able to salvage the round when they definitely should not have.
Now that should have been Heavy there, just trying to stay in the throes of the action, but instead breaks the ADS, tries to pull out the lifeline to get the much safer concussive blast, or in what case would have actually been the explosive blast to secure the kill. But LSG was there waiting, and just as they fell off the plant, excellent job from Honor on, as I think you very correctly put it. That wasn't necessarily a round that I think Honor should have walked away with. Not necessarily the smartest choice to go for priming your launcher. Could have just simply reloaded and just waited for them to funnel in through the single door that you had to watch and then pick them apart. Freak was down, so he was completely out of action. The Echo was no good for anything except for maybe the Yokai drones, which were being able to spot the other attackers. But then you've got 3 other dead teammates who could be doing that and communicating. LSG single-handedly saves the day and capitalizes upon a pretty sloppy play from Heavy overall, and will give Honor its very first round.
Timing. That round was just all timing. Pulling out that lifeline at just the most inopportune time. Now electing to go to bedroom and gym. Tertiary site we've seen multiple times now from teams on Clubhouse. It's, I don't know, the new changes on it make it okay. I still think that Barstock has a lot of room to grow personally, and I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of gym and bedroom still. It was a poor site back in the day, and I mean, really only saw a team like SK run it a couple times. And
Cloud9's run it this season. If I recall correctly, they ran it twice, once against EG and once against
10
SK.
seconds remaining.
That's what gave us that
Bomb
spectacular
located by
moment
attackers.
where Nyx fell off of the
5
plant at the
seconds
last second to kill Schlongi as he pushed into bar on Clubhouse. But
Attackers
overall,
are
I think it's a
heading
pretty
out to
poor
defuse
site.
the
Yeah.
bomb.
Used to be the second site. It is, humorously enough, it's not really used at all. Doesn't look like anybody's going to be. Oh, we actually will have 1 or 2 spawn down over by Kennels. That's where the black eye is going to sit. And
Defender has left
look at that.
the
It's going to get shot out for Mustache, and he's going to get
Defender is
aggressive. But Noble anticipates. You can pretty much expect that to always happen.
MPX at range is not going to be your friend unless you're hitting those headshots, and evidently did not land a singular bullet to do anything and lost about 90% of his HP. They do have a dock on the board, so he would reset and take a stim, go back up to 90. Not the end of the world, but just wasted utility on the Valkyrie cam at the very least to try and start some aggression. I don't hate the play, I just hate the execution of it. Yeti breaking open the logistics hatch, and looks like a very typical take here for Noble, trying to go east-west, start and cache in CCTV and push the way over with some construction control. The biggest thing that I wanted to touch on, this is back from the Rogue Chaos game, was the lack of construction control from either above the logistics hatch. We saw Yeti blow it open, but nobody's playing there currently. They're all just trying to go horizontally. There's no vertical control. And there's no rotate this time, actually, through logistics into construction. There was previously in the other game.
Mustache almost lost his life, so you can see that Noble was investing a little bit of time and effort into trying to manually find those Valkyrie cameras. Even though they do have an IQ available to them, I don't know exactly why Crazy wouldn't be using that gadget. He's too busy fragging out as Legend gets taken out by him, and LSG will join his teammate, and that'll be a 5v3 in favor of Noble. 90 seconds. And you've lost 2 operators who are not particularly crucial in the final moments of a push, especially not in an execute. Romulus will go for a pretty decent bandit trick here, though, and this bandit has been able to perplex Noble at every step of the way. That's the second time that we've seen him be able to put down that car battery and get a bandit trick off. Now, this is the typical spot that we would also see a Maestro play. Just playing Freak right now inside of the bathroom. He's going to absorb a lot of damage as what little was left of Mustache gone. Romulus, who's been able to frag out for Honor, will get one on his own, but that's the only kill that Honor is able to muster at the moment. 1 minute left, and there's Freak, but with 2, the LMG just roars right through Yeti and Acid. Crazy takes out Romulus, so Freak is going to have to go for as many as he can, and now it's a 1v1, but through the wall. A good call from Noble as Heavy will finish things off in a tense situation that almost saw Honor able to square things up, but it'll be Noble expanding upon its lead. They're at 3-1.
Yeah, Noble, everything for Noble going right except for that site execute. That seems to be the sloppiest portion unless they have a significant man advantage. And I mean, they had, what, a 5v2 in that position? And they still got it brought down to a 1v1. So I think the site push is the one real thing for Noble to look upon and try and improve. Losing a Blackbeard and a Lion and still winning out the rounds on attack, not really surprising, but also not discountable. I mean, they're doing a very good job without some, I guess you could call it cheese effect utility on the attacking side. No Maverick played yet as well, a little bit shocking to me, although the sights from Honor have just been completely sporadic. There's no real telling where they're going to go. The only way they knew they weren't going CCTV is because they won the round, so they were forced off, but I don't think even Noble were expecting the gym bedroom as opposed to heading back downstairs where we now see Honor.
No. So Church is going to be the 3rd time. As you mentioned, we'll go back downstairs. They haven't been successful just yet. The only site that will have been won for Honor, at least at this point, was CCTV cache upstairs. It's been locked because they won it on the 3rd round. So they don't have a chance to go back there, which is a bit of a disappointment for Honor. But we'll see if they can right the ship on Church. 2 cracks at it, neither time working out for them at all. And in fact, it really didn't look like it was going to come that close for Noble. There were 2 swift rounds. In fact, Master was actually probably their best bet that just happened off of the Herculean effort of the Maestro of Freak. Obviously, you can't always rely on that kind of thing, but you can always try to do Master again and see if you can just tighten up a couple parts of it, and maybe you can get a victory on Master. If I'm Honor, I don't want to be going down 4-1 here on Clubhouse, not whatsoever.
No, especially not against Noble. Like, they've taken the aggression on attack, but they're going to mirror that on defense as well. And while Honor was able to repel Secret's aggression yesterday on Consulate in the first 3 rounds, eventually it ran out. Eventually, Secret were able to figure them out, and I think the biggest thing here is that Noble have been able to push forward with a lot of aggression and still be very successful. It doesn't look like the same Honor we saw yesterday, who were able to deal with that aggression and win their gunfights. They're losing a lot of 1v1 situations, and they're losing man count extremely early. They are unable to repel the aggression that Noble is bringing like they were yesterday with Secret.
And on top of that, Clubhouse is one of the few maps that is very heavily defender favored. Over the last couple months, we've seen most teams be able to run up the score on defense. Yeti running a very interesting charm there. Looks like a polygon egg. All right.
Oh, that's the Paris Major charm.
Yeah, looks just like it.
Well, it's a glitch on the new update.
It looks just like it.
Yep.
I actually hadn't seen that before.
Yeah, it's great.
My bad. But Clubhouse is a map where the defense should be able to run up the score. They're having a bit of difficulty with this Yokai here. Freaky doesn't know that he's just a moment away from one of his 2 primary gadgets being taken out, and Breezy having to blow up this hatch. He'll get the main hatch in main lobby, and Honor scrambling. They'll get very aggressive at the bottom of those main stairs. And now Romulus will tag in, as you can see, the UMP, the MPX, as well as the MP5K. Not particularly high rate of fire weapons, but I guess they're okay in a pinch. So 1 Yokai is gone for Honor. That is unideal.
I'm just completely confused as to why everyone for Honor started running into that main hallway towards the main stairs door when there's a pre-placed Nitro right above them and the Valkyrie's on cams not realizing that. Like, that was the most uncoordinated thing I've seen, I think, all day.
Yeah. Here's the push, and we can possibly see the execute go in, as it looks like the church wall will be taken care of. Yeti with some pre-fire. He'll look to try and get the pulse. Cannot land all the shots. A good bullet pen kill from LSG. And Legend is here, and this rush from Noble is falling apart at the seams. Mustache will add to that, and now Mustache again. It'll be just heavy in a 1v5. This will have to be a miraculous effort. He sees the Echo, tries to light him up, but he'll get doubled up on, and that's just simply having 5 defenders left. First half is in the books, and in a situation where Honor probably should have walked away with the lead, given that they started on defense, they'll trail. That speaks well for Noble as they head on to defense on a map with sites that typically favor the defenders.
So that time around, it looked like everyone on Honor were trying to play a little bit more reserved. They weren't trying to underway. Prep is going on. Round number 6 on Clubhouse, and Yeti bringing a Caveira. Okay, that's a choice you could make.
Possibly seeing things yesterday in the matchup against Team Secret that Honor played that they could pick apart. This was mentioned in the broadcast that we just did with Mouse Sports over Core, was that if you have a lone or a solo entry, Caveira is an incredibly strong operator, providing you don't drone her out, to be able to prey upon those who enter alone.
5 seconds to go.
Still bringing the rest, but they elect Jim Bedroom as their primary. Also a notable choice, and I think you're right on your assessment that Noble probably don't want to be revealing too many secret strategies if Clubhouse has to come up should they move on, as they are most likely expecting to. Yeti not really going out on a deep roam here. He's just over in CCTV, and he's got company with Heavy and Crazy feet away inside of construction. And hello, Honor. You guys want to get out of spawn?
They're droning, as they
Across
should.
the map.
But it does appear that they're possibly droning without much of an escort. This is interesting just to be able to find this information. No, I apologize. They actually have Freaky, who's in and being double droned, but will now go on to drone himself. So a lot of times you will see a drone escort for 2 reasons. Number 1, you're able to capitalize on it very quickly. That information is immediate, and you can get somebody droned out. Well, what are they going to do? they're gonna have to fight the drone or either you. In this case, they're gonna be fighting the LMG Zofia, which is something that you don't see every day, but possibly has more manageable recoil now after the sight alignment fix. And maybe the LMG is not as terrible a weapon as it used to be in comparison to the M76.
Yeti getting aggressive through the floorboards with the shotgun on the Spaz 15, trying to light up anyone compressing through stock, and it was Freak there for a minute. Also have the buck of Mustache pushing through. CCTV currently alone, opening up a hole for his thermite. Doesn't have to expend an exothermic charge in a soft wall. It's executing towards CC and Cash is slowing down quite a bit. Deceptively quick round so far, as Honor have taken a very long time to set up. Freak's gonna take a lot of damage, Heavy a little bit in return. He's in the back of Cash, trying to hold out a little bit longer, launching the goo mines in towards the doorway. He's got 2 set up and a third one deeper in CCTV that no one is triggered yet. Yeti's gonna take the peek, but it's Mustache to shut him down. Holding him behind the island at the back. Impact's going through the 4, but Yeti, what a wonderful shot. The Legend's gonna trade out crazy, so it's just Heavy alone up against the thermite charge, and he Impact tricks it. Acid with the LMG is gonna shut down a Legend, and now 2 stacked inside of CCTV, trying to bear down on construction, and they're not even getting in through Cash yet. 45 seconds, flashbangs come flying out, not gonna blind the Legion of Heavy. Unfortunately, a poor toss in the goo mine, but he's still able to land the shot while blinded on Mustache. LSG and Romulus trying to light up Acid, holding into construction, from construction into CCTV. Frag grenade being launched out, caught by the ADS immediately. Heavy repositions on the right-hand side of the door. Not pulling out the SMG-11 for the close range, wants to stick with the ACOG'd L85. It's a dangerous game to play as the ADS time not as quick, and neither is the rate of fire. 15 seconds, and they're still trying to break their way in. Another impact trick, and there's just nowhere to go for Honor. Peeking out now, Acid grabs one. LSG gonna trade it onto the Heavy, but now rushing into Cash. Acid's gonna shut it down from in construction, doing it all himself, and Honor not even a remote entry in towards the objective.
Yeah, there was just spent an inordinate amount of time trying to capture the CCTV cache wall, realizing that you've still got 2 more rooms to get through just to begin your execute on the site. Not the best time management from Honor, but for Noble, they just stacked up their resources so well. They had that soft wall opened up. They had the LMG, a Maestro trained all the way from the site towards that door into Cache, and were able to cause a lot of havoc. I don't know exactly what they were trying to do with Yeti's Caveira. I think he was maybe trying to just do a lot of damage in CQC at the doorway into Cache. Maybe if the bandit trick, or the impact tricking rather, my apologies, failed, the first time around, the Legion was successful for getting the impact trick down. The second one, that exothermic charge did get the wall open, but with only 20 seconds left at that time, yeah, you're not gonna have enough time to really be able to do that, especially when there was another body from Noble who was even farther back in the site waiting for you to possibly get in and start your execute. So for Honor, this was just yet again a victim of time management. And Noble did exactly what you anticipate teams to do on defense, which is fight off site, force teams to wear down that utility, and force them to really have to contest, the defenders rather, to contest a site that is not the actual site that you need to get the defuse off. So with Master and Jim, usually it's gonna be Cache or CCTV. We'll see some teams will usually fall off quite fast. G2 in particular was very relentless at being able to clear out Cache quickly and continue to move. It's very difficult for teams to be able to get that foothold that they need to be able to clear out Cache, and almost all of Noble's focus was on that one room. Would have been interesting to see if that room had been wrestled away from them, what we could have seen from Honor on the site execute, but it never really quite got that far. Downstairs to Church and Arsenal for what could be our penultimate round. If Noble ends up winning here, then we'll go to match point. And already, you said this before, Honor in quickly last time, but weren't able to get the next step, which is that mid-round transition, as Mustache just waiting at the bottom of the main stairs, almost caught the Legion mid-rotate.
Acid playing a dangerous game, trying to rotate across the main hallway doorway. Not actually sure. They do have Valkyrie cameras out across the board. Not quite sure where Crazy's placed them, but Yeti should also be relaying a lot of information with that cardiac sensor that there was one playing at the bottom of the main stairs. Mustache is going to take a little bit of damage. Look, there's a shotgun at range that landed on him, or Breezy's still making rotates. But nonetheless, consistent hold here for Noble. No roam game. They're playing close to the chest right now. They're not trying to overextend. Like you said, their objective was to play patient, and they've played patient. They did a remote hold off-site last time, and this time they're holding the objective solely. He's doing a good job of stalling out Honor once again. Their time management skills clearly not their forte. Still trying to display some anchors and cause some havoc on the objective, his mustache. But again, we're at a 5v5, just eclipsing the midway point of the round. They can't even spot out this lesion of acid underneath the kitchen hatch. Sprays coming through from Yeti, reciprocating fire, not gonna land. It's just a lot of wasted bullets and a lot of wasted time.
And see, there you go. The recoil does look to be a bit more manageable with that LMG and just a ton of suppressing fire that you can lay down with it. There was an effort, I believe, to make LMGs more viable, as we do see very few of them at a high level, and just an incredible amount of bullets that can just get fired off very quickly from Freaky at the bottom of the stairs, which denies Noble the ability to cross. So if you can cut off that main hallway, it's very difficult for Noble to be able to help out their comrades inside of Church. First kill's gonna go to Heavy, as that's Legend down. That's a Thatcher. That's not a high priority pick, but Legend is one of the better players and one of the more experienced members of Honor. That's just, in general, somebody you don't necessarily want to lose. And also, Heavy has Diffuser down on blue. That is far more crucial, because on those blue stairs, you're now gonna have to contest with two members of Noble who've rotated to possibly try and take Honor. At the bottom of main stairs, LSG is able to get one kill onto Yeti, but they still need to go and grab that diffuser, which now Romulus has in his hands. They might have to work their way towards the bottom of blue stairs, but Noble's going to be there. There's the Jaeger, and that carbine just tears right through. It's back and forth forever. It's crazy. We'll have to find Romulus along with Breezy. We hit the 0 mark, and this is all but over. We'll move to match point, as Crazy just needs to find him, or Breezy rather, and there you have it. Romulus down and out with both members of Noble still upright, very vulnerable for Romulus, the last member of Honor, and we're on match point for Noble.
Forget who was playing him, but whoever was Thatcher, you just cost your team the entire round. You are solo pushing blue into a double hold with Diffuser. It was Legend. Wow, okay. Legend, do not solo push with Diffuser into blue into a double hold with 27 seconds left when your entire team is pushing the main stairs. You forced your entire team to attempt a full map rotate because you solo pushed with no intel, with Diffuser. That is some ranked-esque play right there.
Unless there was a drone that was put down on blue at some point, but it was old information. That was something that Honor was doing earlier on, was they only really had one person pushing with the drones. That drone, the information that you get from a drone is relevant for maybe 10 to 15 seconds, at absolute most. Usually it's 5 seconds. Yeah. Because you get droned out, people are gonna scamper off, they're gonna move, they're gonna hold new positions and hold new angles, anticipating where you're going to come from. If they get droned from a certain hallway, conventional wisdom suggests you're probably gonna get pushed from that hallway as well. So maybe there was a system here where Honor did drone out blue. They did see that it was clear, and then they started to push as the Jaeger from Noble was able to get into blue and catch them off guard. That could have been it. But as you said, if you're gonna solo push, you're usually gonna want a drone escort because you can't go in blind. And you're right, it cost them about 20 to 25 seconds for all of Honor to be able to get over to blue, and even then, who pushed by blue themselves? It was the Buck. You forced Mustache to have to push by himself after Romulus picked up that diffuser, and he himself had to try to go through blue. It just ended up being a complete mess, and it was very easy for Noble. They didn't really need to do too much.
No. The biggest thing as well is the diffuser aspect. You're solo pushing, by all means. You want to solo push and make a play because you think there's a hole in the setup, by all means, have fun. We've seen plenty of solo plays work out in plenty of different games on plenty of different teams and plenty of different regions. If you can solo push by yourself and make a play in behind where the defense isn't expecting a flank, go for it. Keep diffuser with your numbers though. Don't take it with you on that solo push. Everyone else was pushing those main stairs. You saw the amount of utility utilized to rip open the kitchen floor, displace the anchors for Arsenal. They were going for an Arsenal plant. They ripped open the unreinforced wall at the end of the hallway for Arsenal to run in quickly into deep Arsenal for the plant. That was the game plan, and you threw that all away by pushing with diffuser.
Yeah. So that being a big costly mistake for the team, even though the rest of Honor was pushing the bottom of main stairs in unison. It ended up being a slugfest. LSG started things off not just by successfully blowing open one of the walls with his thermite charge, but also getting a kill that was what really launched the ensuing fracas between the teams, if we could call it that. Honor on the ropes for the time being. Border awaits us as our second map. Should this go in favor of Noble, they've got about a minute and a half left to figure out how this is going to work, and really things going according to plan for Noble. You need to win on attack, and then you just need to do what you need to do on defense, because this is a defender-sided map for the most part, at least as we've seen over the last little while. The floor is made of lava, and there will be Mustache tearing at it, as Yeti will now have to just simply watch his angles. That MPX hitting most of the metal beams. And now not doing a ton of damage, but there's 3 bodies beneath him. Pick your targets wisely. It'll be Mustache, who's just able to draw Yeti's fire away for a moment. And even though Mustache takes a lot of damage, it's Yeti who'll end up paying for it with his life, giving Honor a lead, something they need. But a minute left, and we're in the position right now where a huge flag, Breezy with 2. Romulus and Mustache will be found on the other side of that SMG-11. And what was an advantage for Honor has swung the other way, and look at Freaky as well. This is a yikes, as he'll be finally finished off with a C4.
Legend trying to push in through the garage door, and I mean, the flank was beautiful there from Breezy. He's now rotating out as LSG has opened up that balcony wall. A smoke canister from Breezy, gonna repel Legend even further back. He's gonna try and push in, and he's not welcomed with company or open arms. Legend's Claymore gonna grab one back onto Breezy. He's trying to go for the run out. An aggressive peek here, and Crazy's gonna win it out. Noble, we're gonna put Honor on their back foot as we head to border.
And there you have it. That's that right there. We just played 8 rounds, and 5 of them went for the defenders, 3 of them for Noble. They were able to lock it down. This is pretty typical. You know, the Rogue phase match on Clubhouse, Rogue won 5 rounds on defense. G2 Nip, G2 won 5 rounds on defense on Clubhouse. This is the way that we expect Clubhouse to go, so it's not really a surprise for this to be our end result, especially given the fact that you have a Pro League caliber team going up against a somewhat newly assembled team who haven't really had that same experience as a cohesive unit. Even despite that break for Honor to be able to find their footing and possibly regroup, nothing showed for it, because they didn't even win a single round after that.
Nope. Just clearly the chemistry and the cohesion, the synergy coming out for Noble, just completely surpassing whatever Honor was attempting to do there on their attacks. And then, I mean, their defensive rounds in the beginning, they get 2 of them.